The biographies are big on character, piety, generosity, but the sort of detail we look for nowadays isn't there. It doesn't have the dates. Her geography is uncertain. One of them, Cogitosus, it's a travelogue for Kildare, for the monastery of Kildare. The other two don't mention Kildare at all. Tourism Kildare wouldn't be very happy. One life mentions is from the people of Faughard. We know from other resources they're associated with Croghan Hill. And the Faughard that Faughard and Louth, we're very happy to share Faughard and Louth, but it's a very late association, probably around 1400, perhaps 1100. The Bollandese were the first to start putting it in her official biography, writing in the 1600s. She was dead 1100 years by then. 126 miracles, more than Patrick and Colmkill put together. When you think Christ had 44 miracles in the Bible, she was the miracle. Heavy in the miracles. The miracle of the expanding cloak ain't there. If you were to go to school children now and ask them, what's the famous miracle? They'd say the expanding cloak. It's not in the early biographies at all. 1850s, first date I can find for it. By the 1300s, she was massive throughout Europe, bigger than Patrick, our most important and influential saint, bigger than most of the other saints outside of the Bible and St. Augustine of Hippo. She was so well known through Europe. St. Brigid of Sweden, named for her, 1303. Brigid of Sweden now is more famous in continental Europe, but you know, her international fame is over. That happened. Like 4 of our most famous saints weren't even around in the 1300s. But there was a revival in the 1800s and 1900s, and that became the Brigid of our school days for the second generation, very pious, prayerful. And that served as a model for our girls. And there was a huge revival of Brigid from the 1850s right through to the 1960s. And then it all came to an end very, very quickly. We see that when we look at the number of girls named for Brigid. But what saved her and what's made the last week so interesting, that the goddess Brigid has now arrived. And one of the things I'll be asking is this, an invention turned up in Castledermot in a manuscript that was written probably between the 900s and 1100s. But you've got to remember there's no written record of pre-Christian Ireland. So the question arises, I won't be able to answer it, is, did the goddess invent the saint, or did the saint invent the goddess? A couple of familiar characters here. The return of the relics on Sunday week. And of course, this being Kildare. St. Brigid's very associated with cow. Cow was the Queen of Ireland. And of course, sheep and pigs are also associated with her. But this being Kildare in the 2020s, we had to have horses instead. And we have one of those pony club riders is Ted Walsh's granddaughter as well, which adds a lovely touch to the story on the day. Oh, that's what happens. Children and animals. So we have the 3 girls on the horses are representing the 3 knights that brought the relics of St. Brigid in 1283 to Lumiar near Lisbon. And they led the procession, and Teresa's there, Sister Phil, Sister Rita, and we had Brigidine, the head of the Brigidine order, Sister Louise over from Melbourne, very honoured to have the Brigidine sisters, because they're the ones who made it happen. There were lots of people getting their photographs taken on the day, but let's face it, who made it happen? It was our Brigidine sisters from Solis Breda, and they had the honour of carrying the relics up to the church, and that's where they're staying. Not a lot of people realised the relics are coming here, and they're now going to be enshrined. The way relics are enshrined in all across continental Europe, we're a bit iffy about our Catholic traditions in Ireland, but when you go to Spain and Italy, there's a great pride in that tradition, and that's something that maybe we should hopefully this week of Brigid will reinstall in our culture. Interesting that the characteristics in those very first biographies, simplicity, piety, generosity, love of animals, they weren't really trendy, particularly when she challenged bishops, when she challenged the institution of church. There wouldn't have been a thing that would have been held up by generations afterwards within the hierarchy and within the institutional and the religious and political life. But I find it really interesting that Brigid was so strong in the lives of ordinary people, because Winter na Héireann, the Brat Brigid, the crosses, the reeds, the rushes. That's where her legacy lived. There was lip service paid from about the 1850s and 1890s on, but she was the classic example of a saint that lived on in the hearts of people when other other saints and other aspects of Christianity were being celebrated at a higher level.